update. My 30-male wedding is 22 days away. I have been no contact with my dad's wife, both 60s, because she refused to apologize. He just told me he's not coming. How can I salvage this? Original post. My stepmom, Debbie, is a narcissist. She has been awful to my sister, 28 female, and me since they got together 18 years ago, and my dad has only enabled her. It's 100% an abusive relationship. She is extremely controlling and horrible to him as well. 2 years ago on my birthday, she brought up something traumatic she did to me years before and bragged about it to say that her mistreating me is the reason I'm successful. I was angry. I worked with my psychiatrist to write a letter explaining my hurt and telling her that while I want a relationship with her, I will need an apology to move forward. She sent a letter back blaming me for a bunch of stuff from when I was a kid to justify her ill treatment and refusing to apologize. My response was, I'm sorry. I can't have a relationship if you don't respect me enough to apologize. My email inbox is open should you choose to apologize, but this is a hard boundary. Do not call, text, etc. Since then, the only communication has been her attempts to ambush me by picking up my dad's phone when I call him, leaving me aggressive voicemails and texts, or having my dad pressure me to meet her in person. I suffer from anxiety, and direct contact with her would only trigger an attack. About a month ago, she stole my dad's phone, read through our private conversation, then texted me from his phone. My dad, understandably angry, said he wanted a divorce, and that same day she finally did email me one sentence. I am sorry for hurting your feelings on your birthday. I responded also with one line, I appreciate the apology. Then, nada again, from either of them. My dad left town to get some space. As I mentioned, my wedding is in 22 days. And my dad emailed me 2 days ago with a long, insulting letter. Too much to type out, but the highlights are, boundaries are rude, and I'm selfish. My psychiatrist is a joke. Debbie has been punished enough, so get over it. How dare I only send one line back to Debbie's email? Debbie's the real victim. And how dare I not invite his wife to my wedding? Plus the exact sentence, obviously I'm not coming to your wedding. To be clear, I've heard most of these brought up over the past 2 years and have addressed them with him, but he just dismisses me as being angry and vindictive. Basically, as usual, he wants me to just make peace at the expense of my mental health while never holding Debbie accountable. I'm in a healthy headspace thanks to my psychiatrist and incredible fiancé. I know that my boundary is healthy and no amount of guilt tripping will make me feel bad about setting it. But how can I respond? Despite my intense anger over the letter, I still want him, but not her, at my wedding. I love my dad, and I'm so sad that one simple boundary is apparently enough to end our relationship. Edited to add, I feel like the letter was a trap. Either I cave to her and they both come, or I tell him no and it proves all they say about me and justifies him not coming. The letter wasn't sent by Debbie, although it has her fingerprints all over it. My sister confirmed my dad did, but she's on team make peace, it's tearing dad apart. That deserves another post. One thing I did mention, in the letter he said he doesn't want to come because how am I supposed to explain why my wife isn't there? Well, how am I supposed to explain he isn't there? It's mind-boggling. Now for the top advice before reading the update. I think you know they have made their choice. Why would you want them in your life if they cause you so much distress and they clearly don't respect you? Count it as them doing you a favor. They shouldn't ruin your wedding day and you are literally letting them. Your wedding day isn't about them, it's about you and your partner. Yep, it's time to go no contact with dear old enabler dad. These people will only get worse with old age. Then add grandkids in the mix and they will be even more of a nightmare. Hey Opie, may I suggest you read Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents? It's a relatively short book and you can get a free PDF online by Googling it. It has a lot of practical affirming advice for understanding and navigating exactly these kinds of relationships. I've also been in therapy for years and still found the book really useful and insightful. Hopefully you will too. Take care. I will look into it. Thanks for sharing. Sounds very helpful. Honestly, you're being way too dismissive of your dad's actions. He's hurting you and he knows it. He's hoping that if he hurts you enough, you'll cave. Tell him you're sorry to hear that, but that you understand and will send pictures if he wants. Oof, this got me good. You're right, although I hate to admit it. And no, he doesn't get anything from me if he doesn't come. It's unforgivable and I won't have a relationship with him. Hey bro, let me tell you a little bit about my story. My daughter is from my first marriage and my current wife and her do not get along. At all. My wife has told me numerous times, I'll find something to do. You go see her. She's your daughter. And I do. I know you're not a woman, but I hope you still get my point. Yep, and he is so afraid of her that he actively lies or hides when we would see each other, both then and now. Should get mad if he took my sister and me out to dinner when we were young, for spending her money since she was the breadwinner. So my dad would do it while she traveled for business and would pay cash so she wouldn't know. Even through this issue, we'd only ever meet for lunch and pay cash. He said, I feel like I have a mistress, and wasn't aware enough to see how messed up that is. I grew up in a similar situation. And the first thing I want to say is, your father does not deserve a pass just because he didn't mistreat you in the same ways his wife did. He 100% allowed his child to be mistreated and did nothing. That is not acceptable without an apology. You should be incredibly proud of yourself for setting this boundary and for fighting your way to better mental health. I suffer from anxiety as a result of my father's and stepmother's upbringing, and I can truly appreciate the amount of growth it takes to claw your way to the other side of this. I think the toughest reality I've had to face as an adult, processing a traumatic, emotionally abusive upbringing from my stepmother, is that my father allowed it to happen. My father is very much bullied into submission by his wife, as you explained yours is, but that doesn't excuse anything. He made a choice then to not fight for his daughter, and now, even worse, he's aiding his wife in trying to emotionally tear you down. You don't need that in your life, bro. I got caught in the trap, for a long time, of believing my father was just trying his best and wasn't malicious in his intentions. But I now own the fact that thinking like that is what manipulators and narcissists prey on. He failed to protect his child from ongoing emotional mistreatment. That isn't forgivable without an apology, without some semblance of ownership. What is different about your stepmother's doing compared to your father's allowing it to happen? I'd say there's a ton of catharsis in owning how angry you deserve to be at your father, and you shouldn't get a free pass into one of the best days of your life if he can't prove he cares enough about you to stand up for you. He's complicit in this situation too. This is my favorite reply. Thank you for sharing. It's shocking how similar it sounds, and anytime I brought up to him how my anxiety stems from Debbie, it was dismissed. But it really did, and the way my dad taught me to deal with that was just to keep the peace at all costs, bend over backwards for Debbie, to make her happy because he's too afraid to stand up to her. I used to give him the benefit of the doubt too. Right now, my sister has been saying that type of thing. Don't you feel bad for Dad? He's in a really tough spot. He's really depressed. He's trying. Can you do it for his sake? I mean, he never stood up to her for our sake. Why would I? I'm going to send her your comment. Again, I really appreciate it. You spoke directly to my experience. And now for the update. The fun update is, I got married. My wife, still crazy to say, and I are so happy. And our wedding was the best day, full of the family and friends who love us the most. It was so incredible and full of memories we will cherish together forever. The not fun update is long and there's a lot that happened. Well, I sent back a response to my dad's original letter shortly after posting. I had a lot to say, but I kept it brief on the advice of some. Full text. I'm very hurt that you have chosen not to attend my wedding. However, I'm not surprised that you've once again chosen to appease Debbie's whims over my needs, happiness, and mental health as you've done for nearly 2 decades. It's honestly shocking that one simple boundary and one need for an apology from her is apparently enough to end your and my relationship. But I will respect your choice. We are not inviting drama, dismissiveness, bullying, or manipulation, and we are certainly not going to tolerate anyone who uses our wedding as an opportunity to blackmail us into accepting any of those. That has no place at our wedding, and frankly, in our lives at all. I never got a response. However, he did call my mom, who is awesome by the way, and said the same crap he said in the email from the previous post, which she shut down. She astutely realized he was just trying to manipulate her into getting me to let Debbie come to the wedding. He also had the nerve to say how important his vows were, and double down on his wife being more important. The kicker is, he cheated on my mom while they were married, so I'm not sure why he thought that was smart to say to her. My mom ended with, nothing would keep me away from my child's wedding, and asked him how attending would possibly change his relationship with Debbie. He didn't have an answer. I then sent a quick write-up to family and friends, basically stating that he won't be there and to please not bring it up on the wedding day. Most people were understanding and supportive, but it turned out 2 of my aunts, his sisters, suddenly couldn't make it. Well, my cousin told me my aunts decided not to come in solidarity. So, while I was deciding what to do and trying not to get others involved, My dad and Debbie decided it was better to use that time to poison my family against me. After all of his talk about not putting people in the middle in his letter, he sure had no problem with getting his siblings to boycott my wedding. My cousins were awesome though, and we had an excellent chance to reconnect about this type of BS from our parents and bond. 2 days before the wedding, my dad sent me another email titled, "I come in peace." In it, he confirmed he won't come but said it saddens me to the depth of my soul, and that he wishes there was a way to mend a family. Other than, I guess, attending my wedding? Then he wishes me well and to enjoy my wedding because of how wonderful and important weddings are. Lol. The way it was written made it seem like he wanted to come but couldn't due to extenuating circumstances, which angered me. At the time of the wedding, he was sitting at home 30 minutes away, too much of a coward to show up. I waited until after the honeymoon to decide whether to respond. After talking with my therapist, I realized I did want to respond, because I don't think he understood what missing my wedding meant, and I wanted to make it clear. In it, I said this email was nothing but a self-serving, disingenuous attempt to alleviate his own guilt for skipping it, and that there is no healing from this. Then I said to not contact me again. Fast forward to last week. I got a letter in the mail, no return address. In it was a bunch of letters between us from when I was a child, and a piece of paper that said, "Happy birthday. Don't throw away, your birth certificate and social security card are inside." So I guess that's that. He's wiped his hands off me, but not before going for a last attempt at a guilt trip. I have been working with my therapist through the hurt, anger, and sadness I'm dealing with from being abandoned by my father. I've been very depressed. I'm grieving a loss because I didn't want it to end this way, but he's made his choices. However, I'm thankful to have a great therapist and incredible support from my wife, mom, and friends. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you to everyone for your comments and support. And thanks to my incredible wife for being by my side through everything. Congratulations on your wedding. When we're young, we are sort of trained to think of our parents as infallible/omnipotent. As we get older, it's important to recognize that our parents are people. And most people are messed up with their own problems. And some of their problems are of their own making. Your father sounds like a my way or the highway type. But as you're a grown-up yourself, you get to set your own expectations, boundaries, and consequences of what you're looking to include in your life. And that probably includes letting your dad stick with his lonely highway as he's clearly chosen to do. I'd say you probably don't have anything nice to say to your dad, so silence from here out on might convey the exact message you're looking to send. Yeah, this has unfortunately been my journey over the past few years. Thanks for sharing. Hey Opie, I was in a similar situation a year ago, where my mom's long-term partner said something deeply hurtful and borderline unforgivable to me. I was extremely fortunate to have both of my parents' explicit support and never speaking to or seeing my mom's partner ever again, apology or not. Through extensive long-term therapy, I was able to get to a place where I was able to both hear and accept an honest, genuine apology from her partner and start to mend our relationship. We're in an amazing place now, a full year later. You have always offered this same opportunity of forgiveness through genuine remorse and meaningful change, but Debbie has done nothing to rise to the occasion and deserves no forgiveness or understanding. I was so violently depressed last year. It was also in a grieving process of sorts, even though I was dealt a much easier hand than you were. All this to say, I truly, deeply, with every bone in my body, think you made the right choice in drawing that line for your dad and his wife. I'm so sorry for your loss, and I hope you take your time in grieving and give yourself the grace you deserve. It took me many, many months and an amazing therapist to start to feel like myself again. All I can say is it gets better. And congrats on your marriage, Opie. I hope your wedding was absolutely beautiful. Thanks so much. I am sorry to hear about your depression. It's been a struggle for me as well. I know it will take time to process this. That said, I feel very confident in my decision despite the pain. The pain isn't caused by my decision, but by his. I'm glad you're doing better. Thanks again. You gave him a clear indication of what his choices have resulted and will further result if he keeps making his selfish choices. Now all of this like before is on him. He made his choice now. He's lost his son, and that's on him again. Like you indicated, he's a coward and will die a coward. I respect your assertiveness and willingness to set strict boundaries. You made the right decision in the end. Good luck with all. Thank you. It means a lot. Yes, I know he and Debbie are going to tell everyone who will hear how I'm wrong and mean and selfish and it's all my fault, but really it's on them. And this specifically is on him. They can lie about it all they want. The truth is the truth. Update. Would I be the a-hole for not having my cancer-stricken ex-husband stay with me through his treatment? Original post. For most of our marriage, my ex-husband 39 male and I 37 female had a very happy relationship. We had good jobs, decent money, 2 kids, and loved each other. Then he got diagnosed with a rare form of cancer, and we went through years of painful treatments and recovery together. We moved to a small house to be close to the research center where he underwent treatment. His parents paid half of the down payment on the house. The other half was from our savings and investments. In the divorce, he gave me the house and took all of his medical debt. We have been divorced a year, but now his cancer has come back and he needs treatment again at the same research hospital. He wants to stay in what is now my house while undergoing treatment, and his parents expected me to house him and look after him because he was generous in letting me have the house without taking his rightful share from the equity. When we were married and he was undergoing treatment, it was new stuff that was expensive and also very physically draining on him. We were lucky that both our jobs were supportive and flexible, but with his health issues, little kids, and expenses, we had to downgrade our lifestyle a lot. That, plus the physical changes in his body, made him very depressed, and whenever he felt a bit better, he'd go stay in his hometown. It's a small town where most of his family and a lot of his childhood friends live. I was doing all the caretaking of him, while also dealing with the insurance complications. I was also managing the kids, the entire household, in my full-time job. We had help from friends and neighbors, but it was very hard. I wasn't happy about him spending his healthy days away from us, but thinking it was good for his mental health, I didn't feel like I could object. While he was staying there, he had reconnected with his high school girlfriend, and a couple years ago, he admitted to me that he was sleeping with her, and I filed for divorce. He had fully recovered from his cancer by then. There are other aspects around the cheating that left me very heartbroken and feeling betrayed, and him giving me the house and taking all the debt was an apology of a sort. But now his parents feel that I owe him for getting the house and should let him stay there for the 2 to 3 months his treatment is at the facility. I do want him to be well, and I don't want my kids to lose a loving father, but I can't deal with having him around me. Especially not if I end up being his nurse and caretaker again, as I am still very bitter about how our marriage ended. However, a lot of people close to me are telling me that I should support him for the sake of my kids. Would I be the a-hole if I say I can't do that? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. Let his girlfriend take care of him. Fiancé. They announced their engagement the day the divorce was finalized. That still hurts so much. It's hard to feel sorry for someone who is selfish even though it's cancer. A sick a-hole is still an a-hole. OP is definitely not a-hole. The side piece can carry the burden of caring for him. The in-laws can take a running jump. Not the a-hole. Even without the cheating and whatnot, caretaking is a full-time job. It is very taxing emotionally, mentally, and physically. You're not his wife anymore. You have no obligation to do this. The last time I did it out of love, I can just not do it now. It was very difficult. The big upside to me in getting divorced was not having to deal with that anymore. As difficult as it is to take care of a sick person, dealing with the insurance bureaucracy and keeping track of all the medical contacts and treatment details is a pretty big logistical nightmare. Why isn't her infectious laugh curing things now? I'd ask his parents if they expect you to let him and his new wife live at your place. We divorced. There's a new woman who is supposed to be taking on the nurse and a purse role that I happily relinquished. Not a-hole. And for anyone saying you owe him, you paid your debt in full by taking care of him, and then by not raking him over the coals in the divorce when he cheated. You owe him nothing. Now for the update. The Sunday after I made a post to AITA, my ex-in-laws picked up the kids for a zoo trip. They sometimes come to pick them up to entertain them, and so I thought nothing of it. A few hours later, a very teary-eyed and contrite mother-in-law dropped off 2 bawling kids with me. She told them their dad is sick and will die if he doesn't stay with us and go to the hospital. We hadn't had a talk with the kids yet about the diagnosis, and she dropped it on them that he is dying from cancer. He is not dying. It's a painful treatment, but he'll recover. I was so furious I was raging. I called the ex and tore him a new one. He was shocked too, and we together exploded at his mom. She broke down and cried, begging me to not take away her grandkids from her, as if I'd trust her after this. X and I together talked to the kids with him on video and assured them that yes, he is sick, but he'll be fine. That he just needs to go to the hospital, and they'll make him better like the last time he was sick. The kids settled after that, But my oldest has been at me crying and begging to make dad come live with us. I promised them I'd talk to their dad and figure out what's the best thing to do. I swallowed a lot of bile to talk to him about why he was doing this. We had a pretty long and detailed discussion. The bottom line is that he's broke. He still has a decent job, but his credit is ruined. He has a lot of debt, and he stupidly got the cheapest insurance that barely covers anything. Fiancé is no help either, as she's worse off financially. So he needs a place to stay as he can't afford this otherwise. His parents are funding some of his medical payments and are already stretched. He was financially all right when we broke up, so I have no idea what happened in such a short time. Anyway, X and his girlfriend moved into my daughter's room. My daughter happily gave it up to her dad and is sharing her little brother's room. Both kids are over the moon happy to have their dad in their home. My daughter keeps checking on him every few minutes to make sure he's still okay. Mother-in-law traumatized my kid, and I'll never forgive that woman for this. I let the girlfriend move in with him because I was too angry to care about who came to look after him as long as it wasn't me. I didn't know how I could bear having her in my home, but it appears to be more misery for her than me, and that strangely makes it more tolerable for me. She's teary-eyed and crying all the time. It's only been 3 days, but I am so annoyed I want to shake her and tell her to pull it together. The current treatment plan is for 3 months and I am counting down the days. I am thankful for the many people who gave me great advice in my last post. I wasn't expecting things to go this way, but they played me by manipulating my kids. I'll slowly pull myself and the kids away and move, but for now, I have to deal with this for my kids' sake. Update 2. I was trying to make this update more than a week ago. So to add to that, X's treatment is coming along nicely. The tumors that grew again are much smaller than before, and the new stuff that they're giving him is more directed to so he's not having as many bad symptoms as he had last time. I had promised myself I would do nothing to help, and I stayed away from both X and his fiancée. But I did end up helping him deal with insurance. His fiancée has the personality of a wet noodle and cries all the time, and it was easier for me to do it than deal with her struggling. X is polite enough to me, but his personality has changed. He's a different person and not very nice towards his fiancée. I didn't expect to, but I feel sorry for her. Oh no, I am so sorry you're in this situation. He isn't very nice to her because the honeymoon period is over. Life got real with his sickness, and he's comparing his life that was comfortable, with a loving wife who was his rock, his loving children and medical insurance, versus having to beg your ex-wife to house you and your broke girlfriend. His life sucks now, and he blames the girlfriend rather than his actions. You are in this situation now, but please, 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 take advantage to show him what he lost. Not to get him back, you can definitely do better, but my petty side wants out because of the situation you have been forced into. Petty recommendations that won't hurt your kids. 1. Cook his absolute favorite, most delicious smelling dinner. Don't cook them any. 2. If his birthday or Father's Day whilst he's with you, go to town to get the kids to celebrate him. His favorite thing, everything from the time he was living with you. Then give him your most special home-cooked meal or baked goods for dinner. The kids enjoy spoiling their dad, and he gets a reminder of what he lost. 3. Ask if the girlfriend can look after the kids for day your ex doesn't have treatment. Then go out on a date looking $1,000,000. If you don't date, they don't need to know that. Just go out with girlfriends. If you do date, don't come home that night. 4. Keep the house perfect. Warm, welcoming, smelling great. Maybe decorate a room or two whilst he is there. Remind him of the home he left. 5. If you can afford a holiday with the kids, leave some printouts of holiday info you plan to book in the communal areas. Plan a fun family holiday that he isn't invited to anymore. 6. If he looks unwell, just keep asking him if you would like me to get girlfriend for you. You look like you could use some help. Let me get girlfriend to help you. Don't think the level of care he got from you will compare to the care crying girlfriend provides. And overall, remain classy, which frankly I think is your standard behavior mode. When your kids work out he cheated and hurt you, because as they get older, the time frame of the relationship will naturally raise questions. They will remember that you took him and his affair partner in when he was sick, and you did so for them. Just please do not under any circumstances care for him. If he is really bad, take the kids and go stay at your family house. Don't let him drag you back into the darkest years of your life. I've done number 3 2 times already. I haven't dated yet since the divorce. I want to, but online dating scares me and my social life involves around my kids. I am pretending to have plans, just so I am dressed and out and feel good about myself. I didn't leave the kids with them though. I managed to arrange a sleepover for kids with their friends on those nights. I have been amazed by how much love and support my kids and I are receiving from our neighbors and friends. I told a few close people what's going on, and I suppose most people now know. I have received a lot of offers to help. People can be kind. We got invited to a camping trip on Easter weekend and I'm taking kids to that. Ex-mother-in-law was making noises about having the kids over, but I've shut that down. I would never trust ex-mother-in-law with the kids ever. Like never again. And I have a hard talk with the kids about manipulation, because that is exactly what she did. Weaponized the kids and their love for their dad to get what she wanted. Yes, my blood still boils about that. I never talk bad about ex to kids, but I talk to them about what their grandmother did was wrong, and they understand that to some extent. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister-in-law I don't need her parenting advice, as she clearly doesn't know what she's doing? I, 36 female, have a beautiful baby boy, 10 months old, who was christened last Saturday. My twin-oldest wife, 41 female, flew in for the christening with my nieces, 7 and 5 female. They live in another state, and I paid for their flights because they live with a modest income and she is a stay-at-home mom. The day of the christening when they arrived, my son was crying, and we tried his usual self-soothing techniques, but he wouldn't stop. My sister-in-law said we should just give him his pacifier. I told her we don't use pacifiers and he's never tried one. Over the next few days, it was a similar rodeo. Baby cry and we would use self-soothing techniques, and sister-in-law would mention how pacifiers would soothe him. Well, after the christening, upon her suggestion once again to give my crying son a pacifier, I snapped. And in a room full of friends and family, I said, I would never take parenting advice from a 41-year-old woman that still lives on her parents' property, cannot hold down a job so she's a stay-at-home mom, that my retired parents have to send money every month to help them make ends meet, and whose 5-year-old still uses a pacifier to soothe herself and proudly shows them off. A 5-year-old whose mouth is so jagged and ruined that she and my brother will probably have to ask me and my husband for money for orthodontics care because they can't afford it. That she's a prime example of what not to do in raising kids. Well, obviously the room was silent, and she ran off crying and she and my brother left. They only came back that evening, but neither she nor my brother said anything to me, and they left the next day to the airport. My brother said I have to apologize, and it was unfair for me to throw their finances in their faces. While I apologized for that, said I would not apologize for telling her the fact about my niece's situation. And I told him that on multiple occasions both I and my husband, a pediatrician, have warned them about the negative effects of a pacifier on a child. My brother told me to mind my own business, and I said I gladly would, as long as his wife minded hers. Now my parents are telling me to apologize again. Naturally, my friends are on my side. So, internet, am I the a-hole? Edit. 1. To those saying I'm a bad parent because my son is constantly crying, he's teething. And we have various self-soothing techniques we use, including self-soothing music, his Sophie, his soothing support Stuffy, etc. 2. On multiple occasions, my husband did tell my brother and sister-in-law about the negative effects of pacifiers on a 5-year-old because they ask, because they are concerned. He's a pediatrician. They just failed to implement this medical advice. 3. I do not have a temper. I was very stressed. However, I will be reaching out to sister-in-law in a few days to speak with her directly and apologize for my hurtful outburst. 4. The comments about the finances. Yes, I am upset because my brother is upset about their finances and wants her to get a job to help burden the load. His words. He is in grad school after a layoff to get a better opportunity for his family, and he wishes she would help. She stopped working 6 months into her first pregnancy and never went back. Now for the comments. You could have said, thank you for your suggestion, but we choose not to use pacifiers. And I expect you to respect our parenting choices even if you make other choices. Instead, you dropped a nuclear bomb, destroying this woman's entire life. You're the a-hole. Frankly, no apology is ever going to repair that kind of contemptuous string of insults. If you intended to sever that relationship, mission accomplished. OP, you used a nuclear bomb to kill a fly. You're the a-hole. Yeah. Giant, you're the a-hole. Holy smokes, you went nuclear. There was a better way to handle that undoubtedly. I googled all the pacifier stuff, and I get your concerns. But yeah, still doesn't excuse your outburst. Wow. I know. I was just so stressed with the christening, and her comments were just so annoying and constant. I snapped and I did go nuclear. I feel a bit bad for embarrassing her and myself. Just a bit? I just reread what you said to her. And man, wow. I can't believe you said all that. That was so out of bounds in every way. I don't know what you can do to ever repair that relationship. An apology isn't going to fix this. If I was her, I'd never speak to you again. And frankly, I wish you did. I want to see your side here, but geez. You're the a-hole. Everyone has their own parenting styles. Theirs might not be for you, but you went in so hard and so deep. Almost as if this isn't about a pacifier at all. It's not. I'm annoyed she doesn't get a job and help my brother contribute to the household. It's unfair for my retired parents and me on occasion to have to send them money when she refuses to work and then gives me parenting suggestions? Yeah, no. So in other words, you just don't like her. There are many stay-at-home parents who contribute in other ways than monetarily, and parents that are in poverty. That doesn't make them bad parents. You're the a-hole majorly. I do like her, but I don't like her expensive taste, like Montessori and private school that she and my brother can't afford, but she insists on, and we have to fund it. My parents, hers, etc. This isn't about poverty, it's about being too lazy to contribute to wanting things for your kids that you can't afford, and not working and expecting money to be given to you when you ask. Stop funding their lifestyle. It makes you the problem for enabling their behavior. I don't give my kids pacifiers either, and I raise 4. I believe they get addicted and it's hard to get them off, and it can be detrimental to the teeth. But you definitely went too far because you have been enabling her behavior as well. Am I the a-hole for telling my ex his lack of money is not my issue? Original post. I, 36 female, have a daughter, Sadie, 12, with my ex-husband, John, 39. We got divorced 5 years ago and I have primary custody while he sees her 2 weekends a month. Last year, he got married to Amanda, who has sole custody of her kids, 10 and 8 female, from a previous marriage. Amanda's a stay-at-home mom, not for any health reasons or so on. She just doesn't want to work, while John works at a 9 to 5. He makes good money to support them, but not enough to live in luxury. I have a much higher paying job. Since it's just me and Sadie, I make sure she has the best possible life. She goes to a private school, set her up a college fund, and she has much better things than most kids. Phone, clothes, etc. I still managed to raise her to be humble and not take things for granted, and she's one of the hardest working people I know, always making sure to get good grades and keep her room tidy. Well, the last few times she came back after a weekend at John's, I noticed that the clothes she was bringing back in her duffel are A, not her size, and B, much cheaper and poorer quality than what I usually buy for her. I asked her why that is, and she told me that while she's at her dad's, Amanda takes away her nice clothes and gives them to her kids, while Sadie gets the clothes they buy from Target. I asked her if she wanted them back, but she said she didn't mind sharing since all her favorite clothes were kept here. The problem came when I went to pick her up last weekend. I had a business meeting and couldn't drive her over, so Amanda offered to just pick Sadie up from school, which hadn't happened before. When I got there on Sunday, John and Amanda asked me to sit down with them, and when Sadie came to hug me, Amanda sent her to her room quite harshly, saying her punishment wasn't over yet. I was confused because Sadie very rarely misbehaves. They sat me down in the kitchen and said that it was unfair for Sadie to be going to a private school while her kids go to a public one, so they decided that Sadie would be pulled out of private school and put in the same school as the girls. They also said I should keep up Sadie's punishment, because when they told her, she blew up at them, told them it wasn't fair, and yelled at Amanda and her kids weren't even her real family, that all they did was steal. I told them in no uncertain terms to buzz off. I would not be pulling my child out of a school she likes, away from her friends, just because they can't afford it. I told them they could easily make as much money as me if Amanda started working in her field because she has the qualifications, and the job market is very good. I told them their money problems are not my issue, and if Sadie's items get stolen again or they try to pull her out of school, I'll be taking this to court. They've been blowing up my phone ever since, calling me a selfish a-hole, and after telling the story to a friend, he told me I was rubbing my success in their face, but I still don't feel like I did anything wrong. Still, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. And I would make the school aware that any decisions about your daughter need to go through you, so he doesn't just do it behind your back. First thing I did after dropping Sadie off at school, my kid's not losing a good opportunity because of them. Her father's weak, and all around pretty terrible for trying to take away these opportunities from your daughter. I say yours because he is hardly acting like she is his at the moment. I'd be having a good talk with your daughter about any other toxic ways she's being treated at their house. Get the courts involved regardless for stealing and trying to alienate your daughter. In the meantime, Opie and daughter could make a game out of this. Take daughter thrift shopping for dad's weekend clothes. Things that are okay but not stepmom jealous fancy. Clothes that daughter likes and fits, but stepmom is not likely to steal. Hi, I think as a loving mother, you know the answer deep down in your heart. Not the a-hole, and well done for protecting your daughter. Keep this mama bear mood switched on. Out of all adults involved, you're the only one fighting your kid's corner. Your daughter really needs your support in this situation. The only thing that I would have done differently is I'd have taken them to court already for stolen clothes. You let it go, and now it keeps escalating, because the real motive here is intense jealousy, combined with laziness and questionable morality. To steal clothes instead of working? Meh, that makes me want to vomit. These people are adults and won't change, so reasoning with them is not a viable option. I would involve Child Protection Service to start with, because stealing clothes and pulling your daughter out of school against her will and without consulting her mother is abuse. Please report it, or your child will get more of the same. Also, I'm not sure if your daughter benefits from seeing her father. Even during the short time they're together, he manages to mistreat her. It's another thing to discuss with child protection. I would do it without warning and any previous talks with her dad or Amanda, so that they wouldn't be able to prepare on how to dodge it. What you're describing is serious, and it's time to take an action. Good luck, and please take good care of yourself. Your lovely daughter needs your help right now. Thank you so much for your comment. I'm really considering that, but haven't done it up until now because I didn't want to ruin Sadie's relationship with her father. As it is, she's decided she doesn't want to go back, so I'm gonna take quite a lot of pleasure in getting my revenge for what they did to her. Best of luck to you. I'm glad your daughter won't be exposed to any more of it. I don't know how it works where you live. Can your ex take you to court for withholding his daughter from him, or she's old enough to decide for herself? He can take me to court if she doesn't go, and she can only make choices about her living situation at 16. But I'm planning on contacting my lawyer ASAP to at least start the process of getting the sole custody before her next visit. Then hopefully I can keep her with me until the decision's final. Now for the first update. I got temporary guardianship while waiting for a court hearing. We're going to try to get full custody and have John get 1 day a week of visitation, supervised for at least the first few months, and no contact with Amanda or her kids. This way, he still sees Sadie just as much and they can try to repair their relationship, but she doesn't have to go back there. All contact between us is made through emails which are CC'd by my lawyer, and I've asked for Sadie's things back. I've talked to Sadie, and we've decided that she's going to try therapy for a little while to help deal with everything that's happened. Update 2. We've had a hearing and our custody arrangement's been modified. Any and all decisions relating to Sadie are made by me and me alone. John has supervised visitation once a week, and Sadie will continue in therapy to deal with all the issues Amanda and company have caused her. They tried to push for 50-50 custody split on grounds of alienation, as in me trying to put Sadie against her father. But we made it clear from the start that we wanted to keep Amanda and her children away, and wanted supervision only because we don't feel safe leaving him alone as of yet, but that we were open to modifications. Thanks to that, the proof of stealing, and Sadie's therapist's testimony, their claim was thrown out pretty quickly. Amanda's angry, and has tried to contact me and Sadie, but I made it clear to her that if she keeps harassing me or my daughter, I'll have to make this known to the authorities. Sadie and I have blocked her everywhere, and any communication between John and us is made through text messages or emails only. I'd like to thank you all for your support throughout all of this. It really means a lot to us. Sending you loads of love. Definitely not the a-hole. Info. Did you and your friend have words, and did you tell him where to go? He tried talking to me. I told him I'd rather our relationship be professional from then on. So he called me a witch because I couldn't deal with people's opinions. Joke's on him because the firm's managing partner was walking by and heard a name calling. He got himself a trip to HR and will no longer be working with me. They sat me down in the kitchen and said that it was unfair for Sadie to be going to a private school while her kids go to a public one. Literally took "if my girls can't have it, nobody can" to another level. So they decided that Sadie would be pulled out of private school and put in the same school as the girls. The sheer audacity to be making decisions about the life of a kid they're barely involved with. I suddenly remembered a poster who, along with her husband, saved for a trip to Paris for herself, her daughter and hubby. Her ex said that they should bring her daughter's stepsister or else it wasn't fair for the daughter to go. Thankfully, that OP, though sympathetic to her ex's stepdaughter, realized this wasn't her problem. Money entitlement is funny. Oh, can I share my personal favorite? It was the one that was posted here of a dude that was with his girlfriend for 4 years, and her dad died leaving her a huge inheritance, and he was all pissy because she was managing her money like a mature adult, like selling an extra house and giving the money to her mom so she could live comfortably, and he was fighting her for not sharing it, and asking him if he needed any of her inheritance. Then he recommended couples therapy, then quit when the therapist and girlfriend ganged up on him. And when she finally broke up with him, he posted for advice on how to report her mom for tax fraud from the girlfriend helping out her mom. Dude was such a loser. I wouldn't even warn Amanda that I'd go to the authorities if she didn't stop harassing me. I'd go straight to the authorities and let them sort it out. These are not people you can compromise with. If they even perceive that OP has given them an inch, they're going to demand the entire country. Next story. Am I the a-hole for being honest with my son that I am not proud of him? My wife Nina became pregnant with our son Jason when we were both 20. We will admit it was an unplanned pregnancy, but we loved our son and kept him. We did our best to raise Jason to be kind, respectful, and treat others well, and we thought we succeeded. Jason worked hard to attend an elite university. Jason and his first wife Sarah had a daughter, Simone. Unfortunately, Sarah passed in a car accident before Simone's 3rd birthday. Jason raised Simone until Simone was 4. At that time, he met his second wife and moved 2 hours away, and Simone lived with us. Jason visits once every 2 months at best. He and his wife would stay for the day, buy Simone a present, then Jason would say it was time to leave. Nina and I suspect he only visits and buys Simone the presents because his wife makes him. His wife, Iris, is a lovely lady. She insists that Simone should move in with them or they should move closer to us because she wants to be Simone's stepmom and spend time with her. But Jason shuts the idea down because he says Simone moving in or them moving would hurt his career, and it is best Simone stay with Nina and me. Simone is 11 now, and she adores Jason. She makes drawings and cards for him, constantly bakes treats to send him. It is devastating for her because her dad is her hero, and he does not want to spend time with her. Her birthday was in July, and she cried when Jason did not call her to wish her a happy birthday. Iris tried lying to Simone to make her feel better that the phone lines went down, and Jason did not forget, but Simone did not believe her. Simone is at summer camp all this week, and Jason invited us to a party to celebrate receiving a promotion. During the party, Jason told me about how much more money he makes with his promotion and his job title, and he asked, "You should be proud, old man. Job title and an elite university alumni." I sighed and told Jason that I honestly have not been proud of him as of late. He may have a well-paying job, but he treats his own beautiful daughter as if she doesn't matter. Simone is his own little girl. She loves him so much and he doesn't even seem to care. Nina came back with drinks and Jason told her what I said. Nina told him that she agreed with me and he does not treat Simone right. Most of the family says that I and Nina were in the wrong to tell Jason I was not proud of him. They said I should know how much that statement hurts at any age because I was never good enough in my own father's eyes. They said that Jason is probably focusing on stabilizing his career and Simone can move in with them after. They also said Jason's own promotional party was not the time or place to call him out, and I could have just congratulated Jason on working hard and saved the drama for another day. I feel what I said needed to be said, but most of the family's disagreeing with Nina and me. Am I the a-hole? As many people have asked, Jason does pay for child support, and he believes because he pays child support that his responsibilities have been met. Jason told us he was attending therapy in the beginning, but we learned later he was being untruthful about it. Simone sees a child psychologist, but she seems to talk to the psychologist more about school and friends rather than Jason. Many of the comments have also suggested that Simone could resemble Sarah and cause too many bad memories for Jason. That could be possible, but Simone does not resemble Sarah at all. Simone looks like a young version of Nina with lighter skin and slightly thicker hair. The issue seems to be that Jason does not want to be a parent to Simone. Now for the top comments. You told a well-deserved truth. And if that makes him upset, then he can go sit in syrup. I'm proud of you. Not a hole. He stopped being a real dad when she was 4. Now he's 11. So he had 7 years to stabilize his career, and he doesn't even want to go to therapy. I lost someone close to me, and to me it looks like he chose to forget that part of his life after his wife died, instead of dealing with it. That is why he is such a bad father. His daughter is a reminder of what could have been and what he lost, so he cuts her off. He is harming himself and his child, and sets himself for a lot of family drama. Opie as his parent needs to give him a solid kick in the butt, so he starts going to therapy. Not day hall. When you are raising your grandchild, oh boy do you get to have all the opinions in the world regarding your kid. Yep. As for all those saying how much those words hurt coming from a parent, just wait until your kid wants no more to do with you, because you left her behind when she needed you most. Not day hall. He has abandoned his child, physically and spiritually, for the last 7 years. He's not just the a-hole in this situation, he's an a-hole to the core. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for still having my daughter's first birthday party? Okay, here's the background. My 24 female friend, 24 female, and I gave birth on the same day. Her due date was supposed to be 2 months later, but her baby came early. We were both so excited. Unfortunately, 6 months ago, her baby passed on. I cannot begin to imagine her pain. I have tried to be there for her as best as I could, but she just wants to be left alone most of the time, which I understand. Now on to the issue. My daughter's birthday is coming up in September, and we plan to invite close friends and family to her birthday party. I texted her before the invites were sent out, saying, I wanted to let you know my daughter's birthday party is on this date, and I just wanted to let you know you're invited. No pressure on you to come at all. She texted me back saying, oh no, thanks. I'll be at my daughter's grave that day. You know, the one that will never have a first birthday? Buzz off. She told our other friends how angry she is at me for even inviting her, and that is awful that I'm still celebrating this day. And they kind of see her side, saying I could have been more sensitive. My husband doesn't think I did anything wrong and it's just grief talking. Am I the a-hole for inviting her? Honestly, I feel you were screwed either way. If you didn't invite her, your friends and her probably would have thought you were being presumptuous by making the decision for her. You messaging her personally, so she wouldn't get blindsided by an invitation, was likely the right call unless she, or someone else, has talked to you about keeping a distance. If your friends mentioned it, ask what you could have done to be more sensitive. If they have better ideas, use them. Not day hall. I agree with your husband that this is grief talking. I can't imagine how angry I'd be at the world in her shoes, let alone the extra torture of watching a friend go through the milestones I'd never get to see. Yes, I feel horrible for the friend. I can't bring myself to call her an a-hole because if we're all being totally honest, I'm not sure many of us would have been civil with Opie, given the circumstances. I agree that Opie was probably in a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario. But I'm sure Opie's invite for the friend to come to her kid's birthday party while said friend is mourning her own daughter must have stung. Update. My ex 25 female left me 27 male after a cancer diagnosis 3 years ago and now wants to be involved in my life and friends again. I am very conflicted and not sure what to do. Original post. I met my ex almost 7 years ago and we started casually seeing each other around 2018. Our relationship was very chaotic and unhealthy in the beginning for reasons that I do not wish to disclose, but I was at fault. I hurt her really bad and we ended up ruining our friendship. We stopped talking for a period of time and then I finally reached out after almost a year, realizing that I missed what we had. She was reluctant, but we gave it a go. Our relationship for that period was fulfilling, and I was very much in love with her. It felt safe and loving. However, I wasn't very sure how realistic things were. We got back together right before the pandemic started, so there wasn't a whole lot for us to do except spend time together. My ex was struggling a bit with some life choices and what to do next. Her family as well was going through a very difficult period, with her parents splitting and her dad moving abroad for work. Her relationship with her mother is not great either. She wasn't in school and was unsure of her career path. I, on the other hand, was doing a dual degree at a very prominent college, a D1 varsity athlete, and was planning on going to an Ivy League school for my master's. I never brought this up to her or made her less, and I always actively encouraged her to go back to school, which she did. I love her very much and cared about her a lot because she made me feel safe and loved. In July 2020, I started having some symptoms around my groin during training after a bad session and went in for an MRI. It was determined that I had torn my groin, so I went in for an operation shortly after. Before the operation, my doctor did some blood work that came back very skeptical. And during the operation, they found a tumor in my groin. It was cancerous, but they caught it very early on, so the prognosis was okay. However, the treatment was not good. I couldn't train anymore and was only working and doing my classes online. 3 weeks after the surgery, and after introducing me to her family, my ex comes to my place and breaks up with me, saying the spark is gone. She doesn't love me anymore and doesn't want to work on this. I absolutely broke down mentally and was crushed. She went on to move on within a couple of hours when my friend found her Tinder, and I was devastated. To make things much more difficult, a week later, my best friend from childhood dies in his sleep. I told her we could reevaluate things after a month, but I was so crushed/hurt that I ended up cutting all ties. The next few months were mentally the darkest period of my life. Eventually, I was cleared to start training again and was doing classes online due to the pandemic, but mentally I was banged up. A lot of therapy, crying, and mental breakdowns. I moved on with someone else, but that relationship ended shortly because it wasn't fair for her to be put through what I was going through. During this time, my ex was bragging to our mutual friends about how she was really enjoying her phase and that she was happy she left me. She also went and slept with my former best friend who she knew hurt me very much in the past, and I found out about it, which crushed me. Coupled with her accidentally running into me at some of the spots I frequent, I was very angry and upset. Since then, I graduated with 2 degrees, got accepted into an Ivy League school for my master's, and started a really good job. I healed a lot through therapy and working on myself, and even got to qualify for a major sporting event. Lo and behold, while all of this is happening, she decides to reach recently and tells me how proud she is of me, and then asks if we could talk and have coffee. That she misses our friendship and wants to be involved in my life again. Prior to this, she was going around and telling my mutual friends that she was having second thoughts and was thinking of reaching out to talk to me. This is all while she's in a relationship with someone else, and I find that downright disrespectful. My mind is telling me to call her out and tell her to leave me alone, but my heart feels another way. I know she hurt me a lot, but I loved her a lot. I do not know what to do. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Bro, have some self-respect. You clearly see the things she's done to you well enough to put it in writing. How do you follow that up with thoughts of getting back together with her? Don't even call her out, just block on all channels and move on. Seek therapy, because your self-worth must be in the gutter for you to even contemplate letting her back in your life. Right? Why contemplate getting back together with a person who disrespected him so much? OP, listen to this. Have some self-respect. Don't even think twice. Block her completely and move on. Block and move on. You have come so far, and I'm so proud of you. One cancer survivor to another. Remember what happened. Remember the chaos. Remember why you two broke up. Remember that when you needed her most, she left you. She was on Tinder a few hours later. She's currently with someone else and reaching out to you. Is this really a partner for you? Exactly. She hasn't changed a damn bit. As soon as she gets bored with Opie again, she's going to ditch him. Again. She's freaking trash. A trash girlfriend, a trash friend, and a trash human being. To go and brag about her private life enjoyments may have caused someone else in your shoes to unalive themselves. You don't need to give her any more of your precious time on earth. She might have changed, and good for her if she did, and forgiving her is good for you. But I wouldn't bring that type of person back in my life for a second. They absolutely destroyed your mental state, while you already was going through so much pain and anguish. She's awful, a fair weather friend, not worth a thought. Trash is so polite. I have more colorful words to call her, but the mods will get upset. Now for the update. I just want to start this post by saying thank you to those Redditors that had some advice and were supportive. I read through most of the comments, and I have to say, wow, I did not expect that. Shortly after I wrote this post, I had a breakdown which was not good. My ex triggered me because it brought back a lot of those feelings of abandonment, inadequacy, and feeling like garbage. It felt like a slap in my face to leave at my worst, and now is wanting to be a part of my life when I am at the highest moment. Luckily, I had support from my family, friends, and therapist who talked me through this period. My family and friends absolutely despise her, and thank God for them that I did not crawl back. I read through what I wrote again, and I am shocked at what cognitive dissonance I was experiencing at the time. So, after a couple of days, I went back to my journals and read out what I wrote about that experience. It was heartbreaking to say the least. Someone here mentioned codependency and feeling guilt, which is exactly what was going on. I was toxic and not good to her before we started dating, but I did a lot of work to become a better person. I felt emotionally guilty and responsible, and thus allowed this to happen. I did truly care and loved her, but what happened post-breakup is not something anyone ever freaking deserves. The one person who hurt me, and she slept with him right after we broke up? That just showed her true colors. I loved somebody who I never knew. Another thing that shocked me is reading over my journal that I had while we were together. The comments that she made about me being fat, despite being an athlete, and dressing poorly. Some even of the racial comments she made about how she wants mixed babies and fetishized me. I am biracial. She even deleted her BLM post the day we broke up too, despite being so much of an advocate for it. This is so messed up on many levels, and I am going to need extensive therapy to overcome that. I am lost for words and do not know where to begin. So what did I do? I told her in an assertive and kind manner not to contact me again, and that it was disingenuous what was going on. I know some Redditors told me not to do this, but I did not enforce the boundaries post-breakup, and she violated many of them, including following my mutual friends and asking about my well-being, people she never met before. So I had to draw that line at that. She's blocked off everything, and it will stay that way. I am never going back to that again. Started full-on therapy again today on a weekly basis, and really going back to healing before I can be involved with someone again. Funny enough, I ran into her former friend today, and she word for word said, "You can do so much better than that turd." I am going to take that advice and move forward now. Good things have only happened so far in my life, and it will continue to get better. Hey, glad to hear your update. Happy you turned her down. Sometimes we just need to trust our guts. Best of luck, man. Honestly though, do get therapy please, for being so confused about even needing to sort that out. She left you in your darkest time, when your life was at stake. Someone doing that has forever forfeited the right to even speak, or even breathe in your presence. How does she even have access to you? Block her everywhere. Don't ever let her address one single word to you again. Do this for you, do this for yourself, please. Try not to beat yourself up too much for wavering. I see situations like these as tests from the universe to see how healed you actually are. You know where the cracks in your armor are now, and connect accordingly. A core tenet of marriage vows is through sickness and health. Fortunately for you, your ex revealed that she was not a suitable candidate for marriage well in advance. Take the opportunity she has given you and run. Last story. I, 39 male, found out that I'm the literal backup to my pregnant fiance, 32 female, and walked out. She's begging me to go back. Not sure what to do. Bit of a very relevant back history. We first met 6 years ago in my then job, and we were just colleagues then. I split up with my ex 4 years ago roughly, and we started seeing each other casually 3 years ago, until she asked me if we could give it a go as a serious relationship just over 2 years ago. A lot has happened in the past 2 years. She had a preventive double mastectomy due to having the breast cancer gene. We both sold our respective houses, moved in together, got pregnant, and I proposed 6 months ago. She has been telling me the past few months she's so in love with me, can't wait to start our family, and even want more kids with me. We only planned to have the one, but because she's so happy, we were even saying she was thinking about having another kid straight after our first is born, so we could start our family before she has a hysterectomy due to the gene. So she went on a maternity last week, and we have 2 weeks to go before our child is born. Sod's Law said my phone died a few days ago, so I asked her if I could use one of her old ones until my new one came. She said of course. and told me which one and said it should be empty really. Important thing to note here is that she actually has two of the same make but different models. So by mistake, I grabbed the wrong one and logged in and said, "Oh, I thought it was blank." She said without thinking she must be baby-brained again, so to do what I want and delete anything I don't need. After a short while, I started going through the phone and see she has conversations with her bestie in there, and the last dates were just before we committed to each other. Basically, she was talking to her and literally weighing all her options up about having kids with before it's too late, and she was going over her backups. And I saw their chat about me. The consensus was, I was the shortest and oldest of the guys she was seeing, but I had the best prospects. Most stable job, best personality, most common interests, funny, good in bed, and good looking, even if I'm not her usual type. So she said she was going to give it a go, and her friend encouraged her. Then I guess we started dating. The messages stopped when she was starting to go through her mastectomies and got a new phone. I just went like, "What the heck, babe?" out loud, and she initially was clueless, but realized what phone I had. She was mortified, and she was spiraling trying to explain herself but not making much sense. I literally told her to shut up, grabbed my stuff and walked out. I've booked into a B&B and have been staying here for a couple of days. She's been messaging me, sending video messages, literally begging me to come home, crying, so we can talk. But I can't face it. I feel so freaking humiliated and used. I've gone from the happiest I've been in years to feeling like my last couple of years is a bit of a lie. I keep going through the messages on one hand and thinking of the way she's been in the past few months on the other. Telling me how much she's in love with me, how happy she is, she wouldn't change the past couple of years, and how much she's looking forward to start a family with me. Saying things like she has an actual crush on me, even just sends me texts with a love heart on. I literally don't know what to do. Do I go back and talk? Or wait until she has the baby then go back and discuss it then? I am a literal mess, guys. Now for the advice. My guy, did you read what you actually wrote? She thinks you have the best personality, funny, good in bed, good looking even though you're not her normal type. And that was before you made an actual commitment. Now 2 years on, she's so in love with you, incredibly happy and can't wait to have kids with you, to the point she's planning your second before your first is even here. And you're angry because she thought through her options before making a commitment to you? She compared you to other people she was also dating at a time. She talked to the people she trusts before making a huge decision? She hasn't done anything wrong, and you're letting your insecurity blind you. You're interpreting this as a humiliation because she brought up things you feel insecure about, when what actually happened was that she chose you for all the great qualities she always knew you had. You have a great relationship by your own account with someone who loves you, and a new baby on the way. Why are you even thinking about throwing all of that away? All of this. OP, you really need to read this. Not every relationship starts with a deer in headlights madly in love movies type scene. This is real life. My husband asked me out before he thought I would be a good supportive wife, and didn't fall for me until after we were dating. When I found out, I was so upset. It really doesn't matter. I love him. He loves me, and I don't have any doubts about our relationship. I understand that you would be embarrassed or upset, but how you started out doesn't invalidate your current relationship. My wife and I dated a couple weeks in college, but because I wasn't madly in love with her, I pushed her away. We stayed friends, and over many years, I began to regret my decision. A few years later, she turned me down when I chased after her. I was just off a bad breakup. Remained friends and married a few years later. Happily married 10 years now. I knew I would fall in love with my husband the night we met. It was entirely his energy and obvious intelligence. He didn't exactly feel the same way. We pretty much spent the next 5 years hitting every milestone with a lot of hurt feelings on my end because he wouldn't commit without my direct input. We were as happy as any couple could possibly be, never broke contact from the day we met, spent every possible second together. Had all the best things in common, were constantly surprised during conversations by our kismet, instantly stopped talking to anyone else we were seeing, hated being apart, and couldn't keep our hands off each other. He just wasn't sure if he was ready, or if I was the absolute best choice. It hurt me a lot. I wanted him to be as in love with me as I was with him, but he is a lot more methodical and intellectual than I am. People are just built different. You can either accept your person for who they are and know that your different perspectives help you blend together well, or you can pout and make yourself feel insecure. I chose the former. OP, your wife is a different person from you, entirely different from her own processing skills and abilities. To take this as an insult means to ignore everything she's given you since committing, and that is honestly so self-centered. You want to blow up your child's life because she wasn't obsessed with you? You want to destroy your marriage because your wife was so valuable that she had options. You freaking won, and you want to throw a fit just because it was a competition? You didn't even go out of your way to commit to her immediately. You're projecting your insecurities onto her choices, and it's genuinely immature. Go hug that woman. We don't get to choose a lot in life, but she actively chose to commit to and fall in love with you. That is the most special thing in the world, especially coming from someone so methodical. If you make her active choice a bad one, trust me, you'll live to regret it. Because clearly she's always had a lot of value, and if you hold this over her, she'll go find someone that understands her better. Update. You're all right. I shouldn't just walked out and leave her while she's so vulnerable. I'm going to go home at least and be with her until the baby's here, and we'll see what happens there. Can't say I know long-term how I feel, or what will happen or that I'm that happy, but we'll tackle that when it comes.